HQ. We are the SunderKat. Why Sunder? Because we're talking about something different. In today's episode, we'll be talking about Boom Studios. And why cats? Because we're the coolest cats in town. Speaking of cats, I am Dodgy in the mix, mixing it up with Reno Noir from 6 Elements of Hip Hop.
Salute. What's good, y'all?
Yeah, Manny Carmona from Truth Comics. Welcome.
Welcome.
And last but not least, we've got Stu Dog joining us today. Welcome, Stu. Welcome to being one of the cats.
Thank you. Glad to be here. You can refer to me as Cat Daddy for the rest of the show.
Cat Daddy.
Cat Daddy.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I was worried that you might start barking at me or trying to attack me or something.
Not today, man. Not today.
All right. So today's episode, we'll be talking about Boom Studios. So, and this is part 1. Boom Studios started in 2005. It was actually founded by Ross Ritchie, and Ross Ritchie actually works for Malibu. So there's a bit of comic book trivia for you. He was actually the marketing manager for a publisher way back in the boom of comics in the mid 90s. It was and we've got someone who's running the company with a bit of experience, a bit of background.
Right.
And they also do all age comics as well, which is Kaboom. And so I mean, gonna ask around the board, what was your first Boom comic you've ever read, or what have you touched on, Reno?
I think it's probably we only find them when they're dead.
Mm-hmm. I heard about that.
Phenomenal book. The art is next level. The paneling is just not grid pattern. He does like these crazy stuff with the panels. The colors are amazing, but the story was so dope. Like it's sci-fi, post-apoc. It's a dystopian, super far in the future, spacefaring, but it's got those elements of kind of like a bounty hunter smuggler type of story. It's just I couldn't get enough of it, man. It was like page turner, and then had to read the next issue and the next issue.
Yeah, gotta love books like that. Wouldn't you agree, Manny? What was your first introduction to Boom?
Man, I've read a whole bunch of comics from Boom, Adventure Time, even Angel, a bunch of them. But and the thing is, I read so many indie comics that it's hard for me to differentiate them and know exactly which publisher they are. But I think the latest one that I've read and that's stuck in my head and I can't get it out is that Berserker comic. So, and I'm sure we're gonna talk about it.
How about you, Cat Daddy? Well, what's your first introduction to Boom Studios?
It would have to. It wasn't. Well, I can tell you, it wasn't Thundercat since we're going by cat. But no, just mess with you. Same thing. Adventure Time. But the one that blew me, the one that blew me away was We Only Find Them When They're Dead. Like literally. Yeah. When I read that, I to myself, I said, they're legit. Like this is legit. The stuff is legit. Because once you read the book, then you get the title, We Only Find Them When They're Dead. Like that, to me, that was, that was just like a moment for me.
Yeah.
When I read it, I was like, yo, like, and I've always been thirsting for more after that, man. I can't, I can't, they're phenomenal, man. Like, it's good to have something other than Marvel and DC.
You're 100% right. And you were just holding the books then, Reno. One thing does grab my attention is that the cover is basically just the title.
It's the title. It's such a long title.
Right.
Yeah, like that's amazing. Like that's very original. You don't see a lot of that nowadays, like or even period. It's almost like a movie poster.
Right.
Yeah.
It is. It's a very cinematic. The way it's drawn, the way it's laid out, the way the story's told.
Right. The way the story's told. Yeah. Love it.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Is that James Tynion IV?
This is Al Ewing.
Oh, Al Ewing, of course.
So and one of my favorite authors of all time, Al Ewing.
Yeah, he's very much a historian. His work on the Incredible Hulk, the Immortal Hulk, is impeccable.
Well, that's that's where I first heard of him.
So it's great to see that someone who's in the mainstream and the big two is actually moving over to indie, and kudos to Boom for picking him up. Another Boom comic that you guys can see here in the image, it's Two Guns.
Two
This
Guns,
actually became a movie. So
yeah, I was getting ready to say that. Yeah, I wanted. Yeah, I didn't want to ruin it for me. Yeah, Two Guns. The movie was
definitely.
The movie was better than the Black Album. It was better than the Black Album, in my opinion. So,
it surprised me because I actually didn't know that this was actually a movie which starred Denzel Washington and Mark Wahlberg.
Yep.
Definitely a bit of a surprise there.
It was Hollywood, but it was still good.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And
me and Reno
get indies made into movies a lot.
Yeah, me and Reno just did that. Yeah, we just did indies made into movies. You'd be surprised. Atomic Blonde.
Atomic
Girl or whatever it is.
Atomic Blonde. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a comic. That was
Atomic
a comic.
Blonde, yes.
Yeah, Road to Perdition was a comic.
Road to
Perdition. Oh, hell
yeah. Most people don't have any idea.
Yeah, most people don't know that. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that was a comic book.
Right.
Yeah.
Lock and Key was a comic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
but just like you see how he does the panels here, where it's like they're just like floating on the page at an angle and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. That's so nice. And in like you can see here, this was a page I got from one of the books with a special promo page, which is nice to see as well. Kind of brings back that OG image, and the Ultraverse were doing that as well, just showing off other comics that are coming out. It's kind of nice to see.
Yeah, and we only find them when they're dead, right there on there.
Exactly.
That's phenomenal, man. That's phenomenal, right? I have to say, I've always asked the question because I read a lot of comics. I can say we all do read a lot of comics here, but I've always asked the question: will they ever run out of material, or can we get new material? Like, what's going to happen when the stuff we're reading starts getting dry? We need a breath of fresh air, and to me, indies is that breath of fresh air I think that we need.
Oh yeah,
exactly. And I tend to feel too with a lot of creators who work in the big two, they're kind of like, I guess you could refer to like caged tigers. Like they actually want to do something, but are kind of restricted to what's put in front of them by the big two publishers. It's great to see them jump out of that element. Like you're seeing James Tynion in the fourth, Al Ewing, even Scott Snyder,
Jeff Lemire,
Jeff Lemire, definitely.
Chip Zdarsky, Jonathan Hickman.
Exactly.
They can do what they really want.
True, exactly. Right. So they're not like, even Jeff Johns, he went over to Image, like insane, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Jeff Johns, the stuff Jeff Johns with death metal and all that they've been doing. That's like
oh man, his Green Lantern stuff is just
Green Lantern. Yeah, have you been reading the Green Lantern lately?
No, not since I'm not really a big fan of what's his name? Grant Morrison was doing.
No?
I don't know. Just wasn't a big
as a writer though, I do like Grant Morrison. He's very like what he did with X-Men was crazy.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, the new Green Lantern series is really great. They're basically all the Green Lanterns have lost their power. Their power rings just don't work. The energy's gone, everyth's gone. But there's only two rings working in the whole universe for the whole Green Lantern Corps.
Wow.
And that's Sojourner, the first African American Green Lantern, female. And then there's a little girl, I forget her name. She has a gauntlet that's hooked up to a battery on her back, and that's where the gauntlet gets its energy from there. The reason why their rings work is because they don't need a lantern to charge their rings, which comes from the power source. Sojourner is so far out in the universe that her ring charges once every 24 hours, but she can't use it for a certain amount of time, and it recharges on its own. So that's one of the reasons why I think hers is still working, but they haven't said yet why their rings are the only two that are still working. But if you haven't read it or you haven't seen it, check it out. It's great writing right now.
Okay,
DC is really
killing it.
DC is really killing it.
All right, so we're moving on now to the books that we've picked up for the week. And the first book is More #1. Reno, what are your thoughts?
You got well, you got Wendy kind of drags her sister to a feminist retreat on this remote island, to gain some perspective and empowerment. But everything, is horribly derailed after an assault on their first day.
I'm sorry, Reno. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Feedback. My bad. Okay.
Yeah. I'm having power issues.
The violent encounter sort of awakens something in Marion, and something that she, it triggers warped mutations in her body, which bring forth a hunger that she can't quite, bring herself to name. And when the townsfolk react with suspicion and violence, she transforms into this monster. I don't want to give the twist away, but like Doyle said, Maw might be the most fun I've ever had as a writer. It's a love letter to all the ways horror can tell powerful, subversive, and transformative stories about gender. It's a big, messy chunk of my heart that I somehow got paid to throw on a page, and it's been an honor to work with. Boom. For me, it's another one of those sort of transgender or like LGBTQ sort of agenda appeasing type of a story of a series.
Yeah, and I mean there are some deep elements. Maddie, in terms of the art, what did you take out of it? What are your thoughts on the art style?
The artwork, I feel is the line is kind of simple, but it's almost like there's an uneasiness about it. It gives me like a Walking Dead type of feel. It's almost like they start you off with a clean, simple line, but you can tell there's something sinister about it. I can't quite put a finger on it, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. They touch on a lot of themes. They touch on a lot of themes that are dark, and it gives me it almost gives me like I was telling you earlier. It gives me like a Charles Manson type of vibe with the whole with the camp of just women, and the driver don't even want to drive close to the to the camp. So it gives you like this feeling of, yeah, we're here to search for our feelings or get in touch with ourselves, but if you get close, they'll probably kill you or something. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I guess it's a feminist retreat for a reason, and he respected that. But kind of makes you feel like there's a reason why he doesn't want to go there.
Yeah.
So Stu Dog, have you had a chance to have a look at this book, and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I checked it out. It's basically 2021, in a nutshell, in my opinion. It's about it's about empowerment of women, women finding themselves, and that's clear and evident in the two characters. The one sister drags the other one to a retreat, and that's what women do. Women do that now. I think that the writers are targeting a certain audience, but at the same time trying to draw in guys like us.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it is a 5-part miniseries. So obviously, in a few months we will find that we'll get the trade. So Boom are doing that as well. They're getting trades in. So it'll be a good way for those who can wait. They can just pick it up and watch it, read in one binge setting. Otherwise, they can wait each month to get a copy.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, you mentioned about the art style here. This our images are water. God, I can't think of the word. But anyways, it's got the Boom logo in the background.
Yeah, the watermark.
Watermark, yeah, it was a watermark. Thank you, Manny.
Yeah.
And moving on to the next book now. you know, there's a couple of wrestling fans among us, especially Manny with his beautiful Macho Man T-shirt there. You know, kicking it off.
Oh yeah.
So this is the New Day, Power of Positivity. The New Day were a trio tag team in the WWE, and it's kind of interesting though that you know they're taking a backstage approach. Reno, what are your thoughts? You mentioned before you're not really a wrestling fan, but what did you get out of the book?
Well, you know, there's three kinds of wrestling stories out there. There's the ones that stick to kayfabe, and there's the ones that hang out on the real life side of the business, and then those that walk the line between real life and scripted events. This series isn't any of those. Evan Narcisse and Austin Walker take a lot of liberties rewriting events that we all watched on television, and I can literally turn on my TV right now and pull these matches and promos up on the Peacock app, and this is not how they went down, not even close. One of the absolutely most amazing things about the real rise of the New Day is there's these three guys' ability to take an absolute shit gimmick and sell it, connecting with an audience that was watching and waiting for them to fail. And the concept that they were dealt is right up there with the worst of all time, and that's saying something. None of that comes through in this book. On the art side, likenesses are pretty good, and all the scenes outside the ring work really well. Unfortunately, the action within this sacred circle is really hard to read. In one sequence, X is stood ringside with his feet on the ground between turnbuckles, reaching for the tag while Kofi is in the ring, getting a mud hole stomped in his ass, but not even, but on the ground. And none of these matches make sense visually. The ring keeps changing size, the shape between sequences, tables and props change position and orientation in the ring between panels. And it is really distracting and hard to follow. I thought. I really wanted to like this series, and I have thoroughly enjoyed most of the content on Boom that they put out. This one just kind of confused me. It would have been so cool to get a peek into the actual backstage happenings, or go completely off the rails and make these guys superheroes or space cowboys or something. But rewriting canonical kayfabe on the fly just doesn't work. Not sure who it's aimed at or why.
Yeah. Manny, you mentioned before that you found the artwork to be overly colorful.
When I first, because I read issues 1 and 2, and when you actually see the first issue, it's like bright pink. The first thing you see is bright pink, and I'm like, holy crap. But I think this book, I saw it a little bit different. I saw it as, yes, they're wrestlers, and yes, they have wrestling themes, but they're almost focusing on their relationship and how they see themselves becoming wrestlers. Like if you read the first issue, you can see them as young kids watching how the wrestling matches and going to getting in scuffles and waiting outside the arena for Farouk. And actually meeting him. I have no idea if that meeting actually took place. It probably didn't, but it also they talk about certain themes. In the first issue, at least, they talk about some that's very poignant, and I think this book is more for a younger audience, because and the thing that really stuck with me was, it said just because you work hard doesn't mean you're gonna succeed. And that's very important for young people and for anybody to understand that some people get frustrated and get like they feel like, I work hard enough, I should be succeeding, I should be I've earned it. And sometimes it just doesn't happen. It's life is not fair.
Yeah, it's so true.
So I read that in the first issue, and I was like, man, this is something that I think younger people need to really understand, and I mean, like anything, the wrestling scenes, I think is honestly, I think they put the wrestling scenes just for just because it's a wrestling book. But
Mm.
it's almost like a side thing. Yeah, here's a wrestling match, but this is it's not about this. It's about like when they talk in the second issue when they talk to Triple H, he's basically telling them you need to figure this out. You need because if you succeed, we succeed. But it's almost like he's pushing them tough love type of thing. And you know, I don't think it's a book for everyone, but I think a younger audience would get a lot of out of it. I think.
Yeah, and I really do think this is tailored for kids. Since you mentioned it in that light, have you had a look at this, Dog? What are your thoughts on this book?
Oh, you don't want to know my thoughts. I'm gonna tell you that, man. First of all,
Actually, now we do.
First of all,
now we want to know.
First of all, I love it because it's cheesy, and I like cheesy stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes,
I like
sir.
extra cheese. I like grilled cheese. You know what I mean? I like cheese on my burgers, and I like cheesy comics and cartoons. You know why? Because it tastes good. So for me, I loved it because of the cheesiness, man. It's just to me, wrestling is just cheesy. I don't care what anybody says. It's cheesy, but to see it in the comic book and the way it's drawn, and then you got an all-star cast, man, and the writers, and even the artists.
Yeah.
Now, Reno might not want to hear this, but Daniel Bayless also draws Power Rangers, and I'm a big fan of the Power Rangers comic. So,
Yeah, no, I know
his
that.
art,
I don't.
Yeah.
his art style, his art style on the book reminds me of some of the Power Rangers comics I've read and seen, and that's what draws me to it the most. Because I'm a big fan of art. I love art. I love artists, you know. And if you put a good story with some cheese on it, with some good art, I'm good, baby. I'm good. Nah, it's cheesy, and I love it, bro. I like cheesy things, man. I just think we lost that in translation when the '80s were gone. So we gotta get back to the cheese.
Yeah, put a sprinkle a bit of extra on top. It'll make it taste better, right?
Yeah. Boom Studios is on to something, man, with this kind. Keep it cheesy, man. Keep it coming. Extra cheese. Extra cheese.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing I do like about the story is the fact that we did see, and being a wrestling, like on and off wrestling fan as I am, I watched the beginning of the New Day, saw them kind of rise as being like they were destined to be faces or good guys, but they were being booed by the universe. The universe, they hated their guts, but they eventually bounced back with their Power Rangers gimmick, or not Power Rangers, their Dragon Ball Z.
Right. It's okay. It's all right to say Power Rangers. It's okay to say that because they kind of like Power Rangers. They need each other, but they are the longest reigning WWE champions. Like they've held the title for a long
tag
time.
team.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're the longest reigning tag team, right? So
cool.
you know, that's like Power Rangers. Power Rangers has been on for a long time. I mean, come on, man. It's just look at the cheese factor. It's there. It's there.
It's definitely there on the Power Rangers. Corn and cheese.
Listen, corn and cheese go well together. If you got tacos with corn and lettuce, what do you put on top? Cheese.
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 Yeah, Doritos, man. Doritos.
Exactly, man.
All right, now that we've gone over the cheesiness, now we go into some secrets, and we're talking about 7 Secrets by Tom Taylor. And I found this to be a real bit of a hodgepodge, especially when you're picking it up from issue number 12. Reno, what were your thoughts on this one?
A secret order will find that the secrets they keep are worth killing for. The Order of the Seven has been protecting a secret for years, and an attack on their secret base will potentially expose that secret to a dangerous threat, one that has no problem killing to obtain it. You got 2 operatives. They fight to escape the base with their secret intact, but one will have to stay behind so the other can escape. To make matters more difficult, the operatives have their secret of their own, which is one that they will find himself immersed in their dangerous world. And it's beautifully told, full of action. Tom Taylor crafts a world that immediately draws you in and takes you on a very fun and engaging ride. The characters are great, and the secret motif throughout kind of makes you makes you want to know more about them and what's going on with every page. And I was drawn in by the plot and the story from the beginning. And Taylor holds my interest, my curiosity, and throughout. Danielle D. Niculo, I don't know how to pronounce it right, but the art. Nicola, okay. Fills the issue with beautifully detailed action. And there's like an immediacy to every moment, and it's reflected really well in both the character designs and their movement throughout the panels. And every page looks great. The art engages the reader perfectly by matching the tone and energy of the story.
Yeah,
I give this one a hella dope.
Yeah, you're right. It's a very worded book, like very wordy. There's a lot of dialogue going on, but the art style, Manny, you have to agree with me here. It's very anime like, wouldn't you say?
Right.
Oh my god, I was just gonna say.
Yeah. Right.
Yes, it's like super. It gives me the Last Airbender type of feels. Just in the art style, but it you know what? That's part of it is because I can tell that the artist Daniela, she does the artwork digitally, and just by looking at it, I can tell that she basically does the artwork directly on her how do you call it, a tablet or whatever,
right?
And it's very loose. It's like it's tight in a sense, but it's loose, and it gives it a lot of energy, and it's very animated. So it fits the story perfectly. I feel.
Agreed.
Yeah, and Stu, I also like the way the panels are laid out. What are your thoughts on the panels? Like, they look pretty dope, don't they?
Oh God, yes. Oh God, yes. Yeah, well, dope isn't the word, but that's all we got. So we're gonna go with that. But if you want, I'll give it 4 cheeses out of 5. But it's also got, the author is Tom Taylor. He did Deceased. I like Deceased. I thought Deceased was really, some new DC out there stuff that I really liked. And you got Daniel Nicolo. That's Power Rangers again. Power Rangers comics are big right now, man. I mean, not only for the artwork, but the covers of the Power Rangers comics are really, and then the variant covers for this Secret 7 are really dope.
They are.
Like, they are. Yeah, they are. So,
most definitely. Yeah.
This is one book that it pains me that I hadn't read it before, because I was lost because I didn't know exactly who was who.
Yeah.
But when they said something about she's the Queen of England, I'm like, wait, what? I need to read this. So yeah, I'll be picking up the trade paperbacks for sure.
Yeah, and they definitely do have the trade because it covers issues 1 to 6. So after this issue, I can guarantee you maybe in a month's time, when issue number 13 comes out, you'll have the second trade coming. So it's a great opportunity, especially if you're new to Boom Studios. And we're talking about issue number 12 right here, and there's a lot of action going on. So who knows what has happened between issues 1 to 12, right? That's the beauty of these well-crafted stories. And the fact that Tom Taylor is writing for both DC and Marvel, and then he's got his own indie project, says a lot about what's going on in here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Phenomenal.
How the hell can you come up with so many stories?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, you know what? I think because when you work for the big two, like you say, they only let you do so much. And I think a lot of these artists, from drawing these other comics and just, listening to these, they're coming up with stories of their own. Like, they're like, yo, like maybe I can do this. So I'll make a story about this. And I'm loving it because we're getting some really good stuff out of that. Like that, we're really getting some really good comics and some good stories.
Yeah, most definitely. And, it's great that Boom is getting a focus here so we can actually give them the highlight and we can actually introduce new readers. I mean, we're new readers ourselves, so it's a lot of fun picking up these new books.
Definitely.
Yeah. And as you can see here, the art style, as we've all mentioned, is amazing.
It's beautiful,
It is amazing. Yeah, it is beautiful. It's beautifully drawn, laid out.
Yeah.
The panels are beautifully laid out, man. Very easy to read, one behind the other. You don't have little subsections or anything like that. That's just great, man. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want
I
more.
agree.
I want
Save
more. I'm not gonna lie.
the best to last.
Berserker.
Oh boy.
Berserker. I got one word
That's
for
from
this.
Clerks, the movie Clerks.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa.
Oh,
Yeah, boom,
Whoa.
exactly.
whoa,
Co-written
I got
by
Morpheus.
Keanu Reeves.
Whoa, Morpheus.
Whoa.
I just had to have
Whoa.
someone imitating Keanu Reeves. Whoa. Now this book was actually amazing. You know,
Yeah.
just one thing before. This is what I'm going to say about this. Seeing Ron Garney after such a long time,
Yes.
his art has has just blown my mind. Like I just see that mind-blowing emoji right now.
Right.
Yes.
Because I mean, if you were to say to me after reading this is Ron Garney, I wouldn't believe you. Because I remember him way back in Ghost Rider, like in the early 90s, and his art style was very scratchy. But I could kind of tell the inking wasn't great, so maybe it's not his art, maybe it's the inker that just was very rushed.
Yeah.
But seeing this though, it was amazing. A fun action-packed book, Reno. What were your thoughts on the action?
This, Berserker #1 does its job perfectly. Delivers an action-packed, blood-soaked story, while debuting a character that is both compelling and mysterious, leaving the reader wanting more. And there's still a lot to learn, but it feels like Berserker is a cross between like Jason Bourne and Wolverine, fearless, unbreakable, with a past that he can't quite remember. So we, have to kind of figure it out with him, and And Berserker, initially appears to be nothing more than a superhuman mercenary who will stop at nothing to complete his mission. But hidden deep within lies a troubled soul trying to seek what it is at that, that makes him human. And something that seems to have been stolen from him by those needing his particular set of skills. It reminds me a lot of Bloodshot in that way. And Reeves and Kent have created both a narrative and a character that goes beyond like a simple badass mercenary story. Overall, it definitely lives up to the hype, and is more than just a celebrity slapping their name on a comic. To try to cash in on brand recognition. He really did his thing here, and the story has something for everybody between its the vicious art, fantastic storytelling. And it's going to be fascinating to see where this whole story goes. I know it's been out for a little while, but I haven't gotten to read it all yet. So I can't wait to get into like issues 3, 4, 5 and all of that. And I do have some of them, but I just haven't read them yet. But I just want to see where Reeves and Kent take this character, man. It's really, really intriguing.
Yeah. And Manny, your thoughts on the art. This is up your alley.
Yeah, I mean, I love this. I love everything about this, and it's funny you talk about Ron Garney. I've actually seen his artwork, his pencils, not just on this, but I saw his when he did Sentinel of Liberty, Captain America.
Yeah,
and his artwork is amazing. I guess not. It's like everything. Not every inker can ink his work and make it look like it should. I believe he's inking his own work here. So you can tell that he's just having fun. He's doing whatever he wants, I almost feel like my best friend, the one that writes my comic book, he basically says when there's a fight scene or something, he says just have fun with it. Just there's 3 or 4 pages and just go crazy. And I'm thinking that's what the writer told him. Yeah, there you go. I'm thinking that's what the writer told him. These certain things happen, but just go crazy, and he's just having a blast with it. I can tell.
Yeah, it's pretty much nonstop action. It's Stu. What are your thoughts on the book?
I'm gonna say extra cheese all the way because I love cheese. I give it 5 cheese,
like
5 extra cheese pies out of 5. No, I'm just kidding. You know what? I'm gonna tell you a funny story real quick. When I first read it, me and Reno were doing a review on it, and I think we started at issue, was it 3 or 4, Reno, something like that?
Yeah, 4. I
And
think, yeah.
I was like, Reno, I bought the comic, but I had never really read it. So I had read the one issue so we could review it. And then I was totally hooked. So I wanted to see, I was like, well, whoa. I had too many questions. But luckily I had the back issues, so I read them in reverse. Yeah, I read them in reverse, and I was like, yo, by the time I got, I read them back to the first issue.
That's why I had to
and
go back to issue 1.
Yeah, I was blown away. Like, very original writing, very original story. Like Reno said, it reminds you of It's like Bloodshot on steroids.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Matt Kind is actually wrote Bloodshot.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. It's like Keanu Reeves. Like, yo, I really want to do a Bloodshot type comic.
Yeah, whoa. This is like Bloodshot. Yeah, whoa. Yeah, this is Bloodshot 2.0. This is Bloodshot 2.0. I can tell you that now.
I want to mix Bloodshot with John Wick.
And he
looks just like John Wick. Yeah,
he does, because that is a whoa factor. That is a whoa factor when you mix them two.
Well, I mean, even the new Neo movie of the Matrix, he looks like John Wick.
Yeah, he does.
Yep. Yeah, we just did a review about that too. We just watched that the other day, the trailer, and that movie looks phenomenal. I think.
What is it about John Wick that everybody loves so much?
They love Keanu Reeves.
I think so. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we all do. I think Keanu Reeves got an unfair stake in the in the late 90s. Because I think no one would hire him, but I think after his run on the Matrix, and it's kind of good to see him back. He's almost like a Vin Diesel type. Like he tried to do other things that just unsuccessful, and then gone back to doing the Fast and the Furious. I think we get a similar element here with Keanu Reeves. Like John Wick worked, so let's keep doing more John Wick movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many do you think they can do?
They're 4 now.
As many as he wants.
Yeah, look at
10.
I never thought Fast and the Furious could go past 3.
There you go.
3 would stretch
right?
What? There's 7 of them or something.
Yeah, but Paul Walker said before he died, he was talking to Vin Diesel. He said we could do 10. And Vin Diesel was like, "Nah, we can't get to 10." But here they are.
Yeah, look at them now. Yeah,
man.
Yeah, but I definitely think Berserker is a fun read. I actually picked up the Kickstarter, so I'm still waiting for my copy. Boom! If you could please bring it out, I'm still waiting. But I think they were waiting to get the full story run out before they start sending out their. I believe it's a trade.
Oh, okay, cool.
So long ago. But definitely, it started out as a Kickstarter and was immensely successful.
Yeah,
and I think by having Keanu Reeves' name, it really kicked it off.
Definitely.
It's funny because when I first heard about Berserker, I thought it was like most people, this is gonna be just like a punch up or whatever. But when you actually start, I've been getting all the issues after number 1, and you actually seeing that he's messed up in the head because of how he was brought up from the beginning. He was basically raised to be a killing machine. So there's a lot more going on than just shooting people, for sure.
Yeah. You mentioned Reno about his humanity as well. He's missing his humanity.
Yeah. And there's a point where he doesn't even want to do it anymore when he was younger. And his father, quote unquote, was like, "No, you have to do this for our village or for our." And he's like, "All right, well, I guess I have to do it." Yeah. Until he kind of loses his humanity.
Yeah, because it's sort of like a gift and a curse type story.
Exactly.
Like, but it's good though. It's good the way it's written. His father kept pushing him.
Yeah.
To do it. Yeah.
Especially the pinnacle of the final page in issue number 1. It's almost like, holy shit.
Yeah.
How far back does it go?
It's almost like Wolverine, if you think about it. Like when Wolverine goes Berserker Rage.
Well, I always thought Bloodshot was like Wolverine too.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
he is.
I always thought that was that was Valiant's Wolverine. Just like Manowar is their kind of their Iron Man.
Yeah, or even Ultimate. I was gonna say Ultimate Warrior, Eternal Warrior.
Eternal Warrior, yeah.
Oh, we can talk about that in another show.
Yeah, that's true.
What's the
That's
other?
true.
What's the other guy? What's the
We're
other guy?
gonna do Valiant.
Nighthawk. Nighthawk is like Batman or something. Was it Nighthawk or whichever one he is?
Darkhawk.
Darkhawk. Yeah, Darkhawk. Yeah, he's like Batman, right? To me,
Marvel.
More like
Yeah.
yeah.
But then but Valiant, yeah, we got to do Valiant next. Talk about
Yeah,
Shadow
definitely.
Man and Harbinger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
but-
yeah.
I was
but
big
yeah,
on Valiant for a while. I even got
Awesome.
this where is it? This thing right here. And I ordered it from their website. It's a little thumb drive, and it's got every comic they did between like 2002 and 2012.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Hundreds of comics on here. Everything is on here. You go on their website, $60. You can have every book they've ever made digitally. They send it to you on this thumb drive, and I just went nuts. Like I have a whole bookshelf of their their trade paperbacks, and I got a short box full of Valiant comics. Like I was big into Valiant for a couple, for like a year at least.
That's cool.
They have the best jumping on. Like you can for a new reader or for a reader that wants to get into comics, but Marvel is like too daunting and huge and thousands of characters. And where do I start? Valiant is your deal because they keep a small number of characters, so it's not crazy and overwhelming. And every story, like even every issue, gives you the kind of the where we are so far at the beginning of the book, and and the new series that comes out, they retell the story, so you don't have to have read the previous volume. It's just that's what Valiant does the best out of any publisher.
I think Boom does as well.
Yeah, Boom. Yeah, but definitely with Boom. Considering this is a Boom show, so guys, please check out Boom's website.
True.
But definitely check it out. Check out Boom's website. Go to visit your local comic book shop. Check the indie section. Have a look at what Boom have to offer because they've got some great stories to tell as well. Some of them are in trade collectibles, so you can definitely read a whole story in one innings if you find that some of the stories are getting old now.
Yeah, Boom is my favorite. Boom is definitely my favorite indie publisher out there right now.
Yeah, they have a lot of crazy books. They have this book Judas that's really dope. They have Klaus that I love.
Yeah.
They have a whole bunch of they have all the Labyrinth and all this Jim Henson properties. Man, they have a lot of books. Yeah. Fraggle Rock.
Fraggle Rock. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh no, I love Fraggle Rock. Man. Let's
Oh, Dark Blood. Yeah.
Phenomenal book. This is a phenomenal new book by Boom. Definitely check out Dark Blood, man. We did a review of this. Dark Blood is phenomenal.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us with the SunderKats. Please click like and subscribe to get more from Comic Crusaders. Check us out at comiccrusaders.com. On behalf of all the SunderKats, thank you for joining us, and see you all next week.
SunderKats, yo!
Thank you. We hope you've enjoyed this Comic Crusaders production. For real-time news on all things pop culture, please feel free to follow us on social media. For articles, original content, merchandise, and more, please go to www.comiccrusaders.com. Also follow along with all of the websites in the Comic Crusaders family. As always, if you like this content, please click like and subscribe to the Comic Crusaders YouTube channel.